Welcome to Enlightened World Network. Dr. Ruth Anderson here with Michele Landers for the August forecast for 2023. It's the new month numerology with our very favorite numerologist, Michele Landers. She's been doing this for a year and a half now and so excited to see what August is going to be bringing us. Michele, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ruth. I love you and love EWN, you know that. Yeah, so it's exciting every month, isn't it, to find out what the energies are? But I think we're pretty much accustomed to the fact that every month it's like, whoa, you know, it's another very interesting and kind of crazy energy. And that's going to be pretty much all year. But this month, August, my goodness, we have the astrological and numerological aspects, and we have two very, very important celestial events happening. And let me just, I'm so sorry. Let me just close out one thing here so we don't hear this beeping sound. Yeah, we have two really important celestial events that I'm going to address. So first, heads up, we have 6 planets that are or will be in retrograde this month. They're Venus, Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, Jupiter, and good old Mercury. Mercury doesn't go into retrograde until August 23rd to September 14th. So that's the heads up about that, because we want to watch technical stuff during that time. We get Mercury retrograde so often, but it's still really a good idea. So when Mercury is retrograde, you know, check all of your electrical equipment, double check contracts. Things can sometimes be misunderstood. But the thing that we really want to remember about retrogrades, they always represent the aspect of looking back. And because we can't really move forward till we fix those things from the past. So wherever things are retrograding, whatever planets are retrograding and whatever signs are retrograding in, will bring up stuff for us to look up or look up and look out, look up and look at from the past. So August brings us this 15-6 vibration. So the numbers that we're looking at for this month are 1, which is independence. And there's going to be a lot of energy around us individually. 5, which is change. And of course, there's always changes going on. And the overriding number, which is 6. So 6 is about home and family, also those we consider family, which is also our worldwide family and children. And I do have something important I want to share about that at the end of this short broadcast. But for now, let's just talk about what's the energy. So we have a 6 universal month and a 7 universal year. So again, the theme, the whole year is about analyzing things, looking at things from a different point of view, weird things coming up, strange things coming up, things, a lot to do with water, a lot to do, it's got that Neptunian aspect to it, analyzing things. So this month, 7 is thinking, analyzing energy. So what will we be thinking about? Well, this month, the emphasis again is on home. And it could be the real estate market, but of course, home is also family, security. Issues and demands are on the agenda for this month because we have so many planets in retrograde or going retrograde. It will cause all of us on a global level, as well as a personal level, to go back over things. So it's going to bring up things from the past. And we might be saying, gosh, I thought we were done with that. And that might have to do with some health issues, which I'll get to. Or on the other hand, we might be saying, gosh, we have to bring that back up again and look at it. But that's the way it is this month. Things will be getting the go over, so to speak. So where might we have misjudged a person or a situation? And everything that I'm saying is individually and globally. So I just want to keep reminding people of that. So you'll feel it in your own life, but also look to the worldwide stage. So there's going to be a lot of confusion. We're going to be questioning things. 6 is also the politician or very political, not so surprising, right? We're going to be hearing a lot of political noise going on. There is more social unrest. Now, what's so interesting about that is this is on a global level, and we've been seeing that. I noticed that it's in France, in the Netherlands, in Germany. People are standing in their power, and Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, and Uranus is kind of in the forefront this month. Uranus shakes things up. And Uranus, again, is connected also to Aquarius. And Aquarius is, I don't like the way things are going on the worldwide stage. So it's bringing in fighting for our beliefs, more people going out on a limb to fight for their beliefs. And actually, what I've mentioned before is there is this growing, like this groups are growing behind the scenes. It's a lot of Aquarian energy, which is about innovation and inclusivity. Aquarius is like, all are welcome, everybody's included. So this aspect is moving at a really fast pace. And that's going to continue for years, but it has begun this year. It will be growing. So there is really, really a lot of heavy emphasis on relationships, again, individually. The people closest to us may need our attention, or we may need attention. We may need advice. People closest to us may need advice. And globally, our relationship with other countries need to be looked at. And I believe that this month we will be taking a harder look at that. And should I mention the whole thing about aliens again? Because I think this is so funny. I'm not sure if anybody remembers, but at the beginning of the year, I talked about this. And I've mentioned it periodically, and lo and behold, I heard on the news, I think it was last week on national news, that there are lawmakers who are saying telling the government you need to unclassify this information. What? We have classified information about UFOs and they're not letting us know about it? And it's pretty deep, my understanding, it goes pretty deep. So that's definitely going to come out. And again, what we're getting is this dripping effect in order to prepare us. So they think, we have to be fed pablum, I guess, like a little baby. I'll just give you little pieces of it. So look out for that. So this month, it also, again, has to do with the housing market. There's emphasis on it, but it could be about homes. It could be about building. It could be about building materials. What's continuing is this weird, powerful weather. I'm here in Florida, and I don't like to say this, but I would not be surprised at all if we meet up with a hurricane this year. I don't think it's going to be a really good, positive season for hurricanes, but that's just the way things are. And again, Mother Nature is really shaking things up. She's not happy, although there are so many people who are invested in helping to change the planet. But for right now, it's like she's pushing and stretching against all of this energy. Okay, so again, let's talk a little bit more about the number 6. The 6 has a lot of meanings, and it's all seems to be mirrored in the astrological transits as well. Besides relationships and the housing market, it has to do with health and the medical community and medication and mental health and the service industry and counseling. So I really kind of tiptoed around this a little bit. I didn't know if I should mention it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I feel like something's going to come up again. It won't necessarily be a pandemic, but the media is going to try and scare us a little bit, like, oh, something else is out there, you better be careful. I think it's going to create some fear, but I really don't think it's going anyplace at all. It might be in a couple of places, and then there's a little bit of panic going on, but I just thought I'd mention it. So if we do hear about that, at any rate, there's definitely emphasis on medicine and medical. Also, the 6 is about making decisions. It's about justice. It's about adjustments. So in our personal life, as well as in the world, there's going to have to be decisions have to be made, and we're going to be striving for justice and making adjustments, because it's kind of a month that is forcing us to look at things. And on a spiritual level, it's just this justice and mercy, which I love that word, mercy, vibration. I wanted to show everyone, there's 2 tarot cards, which I always like to bring up because I think it's so interesting that astrology, numerology, the tarot, and I'm sure every other of these psychic or oracles, they mirror one another. So we have 2 cards that I'll show. And one is the number 6, which is the Lovers. And it doesn't look lovely. It's just sweet, right? It's a little sweet. And it could be a lot sweet. It depends on how it shows up in a spread, right? But we're just going to talk about the interpretation of 6, which is in the forefront. So 6 represents our connection to others, or it could be focusing on one person in particular. But the other side of the 6 tarot card is about temptation and attraction. So that means we may be tempted in some areas to either take shortcuts or not seeing things clearly, that it's right in front of you. So that's why with this whole thinking energy and analyzing energy of the year, I really encourage people to take a really close look in your relationships. It's about making choices, making good choices, not out of fear or guilt or shame, but what our soul is telling us. So if you want to get in touch with your soul, you probably have to spend some time in quiet time in communication with your soul and your spirit. And it's also about open communication and honesty and trust. And this month really encourages us. I mean, I know that some of these things are true any time of the year, but in certain months, it brings it home. And if you don't pay attention to what the numbers and the astrology is suggesting to you, it probably is going to have a lot more force in your life. So we need to get really clear about who we are, be able to clearly communicate that, and take a look at our responsibilities. Again, worldwide, personally. It means having to face or make some moral choices. And I would like to scream that from the rooftops to globally, because that is so important, because there's so many immoral things going on. So we would imagine part of that 6 energy that this month is going to bring more things up that we're saying, no, 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 that is not right. So it can also bring about, like, if you are open and you're honest and you're looking at things clearly, well, guess what? You're going to get the positive side of the 6, which is about bringing balance into your life and in the world, harmonious relationships. That encourages, 6 encourages that balance, harmony, home relationships, our home, where we live. So what's the other side, the challenges of the 6? Well, the challenge of the 6 is sometimes being a martyr. It's also being too nosy or interfering. The 6 can also be self-righteous, and I think we're going to see that in the political arena. It can be jealousy. It can cause a lot of misunderstandings and conflicts. So again, I just want to encourage people, pay attention to your feelings. Don't react impulsively. Look deeper. Look at things. Try to look at things outside the box. Now, here's the other card, the 15. So are you ready for this card? Look at this one. It's the devil. I know, some of the cards in the tarot are so scary. Of course, there are tarot card decks that the devil doesn't look like that at all. But this is like the original. This is the Rider-Waite deck. So even though that looks like a scary card, what it's telling us, it represents our shadow, our darker side, any of the challenging or negative forces that constrain us. So it's, again, so interesting that all these numbers and transits are saying the same thing, because the devil card asks us this question: what's holding you back? What do you need to acknowledge that is having a hold on you? What are your addictive patterns? What or who are we addicted to? And I can tell you that so often when I've done readings and the issue will be revealed to me that it has to do with somebody in the family has addictions, that this devil card will show up. So it's a great opportunity to take these things out of the shadow and look at what's repeating in our life. What do we have to re-examine? What or who no longer supports us? What's working in our life and what isn't? Another aspect of the devil card is being tricked into believing that we have no control. So I'll say that relationships can be challenging in August. However, they also could be really blossoming if we pay attention to the suggestions that I've made about thinking things through, not reacting rashly, opening up the lines of communication. And since we have retrograde so prominent, that's what it's asking us to look back at our relationships. It can bring back, for some people, it can bring back an old flame, an old love. It can bring back people from the past. It can bring back old issues that might have been, okay, so it may not, if it doesn't bring somebody from the past back, it could also bring back issues having to do with an old relationship that maybe wasn't resolved. There wasn't any closure. It could bring back memories of that, all of those things. So it's just resurfacing. And again, that's what the retrogrades will cause us to do, look back. So we have astrologically Uranus square Venus, and that is, again, a restless feeling in relationships. So, Venus is a planet of love and it's emotional. And what does Uranus do? It's an upheaval type of energy. It's a surprising type of energy. Sometimes that can be wonderful, and other times not so much. So it can bring out of the blue happenings in relationships, a lot of emotions coming up, and even things to do. Okay, this is like an aside in finances. It might bring things up to look at that. So some of the aspects point to the need to express ourselves. We may feel also a longing to want to be around loved ones more. A lot of creative and out of bounds thinking, because we have Aquarius prominent and Uranus and Leo. Now, these are unusual, expressive and unpredictable, strange things happening. So that's such an interesting combo. And they're all pretty passionate. Aquarius, Uranus, and Leo, all in their own way. And it can be a little bit of this explosive energy, but it also can bring sudden epiphanies and awareness and like, wow, I never realized that before, in a good way. So what we want to do is tap into the positive side of these energies. And when we tap into our creative energy and out of the box thinking, that is really positive for us and really beneficial and up levels our spiritual self as well. So today, right off the bat, we have a super full moon in Aquarius. So understand, when we have a full moon, it's not just that day that the energies can be felt. It can be a few days before, excuse me, maybe a few days before, even a week after. So it's not just that day. And another thing to note, interestingly, is that we're going to have another full moon at the end of the month, and that's called a blue moon. And what is a blue moon? A once in that's unusual happening. That's why it's called a blue moon, because it's twice in a month. So full moons, of course, are considered a time of release. Again, our partnerships, our friendships are going to be tested. People are feeling antsy. So if you've been feeling a little out of sorts, or others are acting, I don't know, that way, out of sorts or weird, just know that that is the energy that's happening right now. But Aquarius is also considered the trailblazer and a pioneer of the future and innovation. It's also mental energy, and you can take that any way you like, but it is also, again, putting this energy into analyzing, reevaluating things, but it is pushing us to expand and do things in a different way. And I so want to emphasize that this month. It is such a great time to say to yourself, what do I need to change in my life? What needs up leveling? What do I need to do differently? That can be triggering our energy. So again, we have to be careful of our reactions. It's really, though, the good part of it, it's pushing us to expand and do things in a different way. So there's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Those are the signs that probably are going to feel most of that energy of this full moon. I think everyone will, and across the globe, but the fixed signs like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, they're going to feel it the most. And again, it's just pushing us to expand, do things differently. Aquarius is an air sign and certainly more cerebral, and the sun in Leo is heart. So we have the opportunity to see the big picture and feel into that, and also have this higher vision that Aquarius offers us. Now, on the 7th, I'm not sure exactly, that could be a couple of days before, a couple of days after, but there's this energy of inflation, or just inflating things, unexpected news. We have Sun square Jupiter in Taurus, big egos, or there may be some, loud talking and self-righteous behavior. And then on August 8th, it's back, the Lion's Gate. So the Lion's Gate, for those people who don't know about it, it happens every year on August 8th. It actually began July 28th, and it goes through August 8th. So August 8th is like the culmination period. And it's a time when Sirius, the Earth, and Orion line up, and they're like in perfect alignment, which is amazing, with the pyramids of Giza, which means that a portal opens up. And this vortex allows these supercharged light codes to just flood our planet, and we're being bombarded with these galactic rays, which I think is so spectacular, because we have another event, which I'm going to talk about as well, which is kind of doing the same thing. So it enhances our intuition, it enhances our higher awareness, it accelerates awakenings. It is wonderful, just wonderful for your ability to manifest. So along with all of this other stuff going on, we can also have these periods or these pockets where we really feel pretty empowered. It also brings unexpected endings, unexpected beginnings. I think that people will probably see a lot more of number sequences like 111, 333, 1111. We're just being downloaded with all of this energy. And then, which I love this as well, around the 12th or the 13th, I put this in my newsletter and I said, are you ready to make a wish upon a shooting star? Because we have another huge cosmic event that also can enhance our powers to manifest, our intuitive powers, and it's called the Perseids. And Perseids are the most famous meteor shower of all. It's already active, but here's the thing. As we get closer to August 12th and 13th, the meteors are going to increase up to 50 to 75 per hour, peaking at around 100. So, of course, in many cultures, what do we think about? You see a shooting star, you make a wish. But this is really a very auspicious event. So make a wish, and you can catch a glimpse of it. You can see it all through the northern hemisphere, and of course, in those areas where you don't have as much, smog or fog or whatever it is, the clearer the night sky, the more likely. You don't have to really look for. I think it comes from Perseus or something, whatever constellation that is. You don't have to look for that. If you've got a nice clear night, you really, really just be patient because they come and go quickly. But yeah, just watch the skies. That's going to be wonderful. So we have a couple of events that are encouraging us to enhance and to step up our envisioning, our manifestations, our desires, and our wants. And that's all kind of mixed in with relationships. So also on the 16th, we have a new moon in Uranus, or Uranus is square. I'm sorry, Uranus is squaring that new moon. So what does that mean? Well, it might be, you might be feeling a little bit disoriented. Now, there's some aspect of deception around that time and sudden unexpected changes, which I just have to laugh at that because honestly, there's so much deception going on already. But I guess during these little pockets of transit, it kind of brings it up, you know, for us to look at. I did talk about, yeah, so around the 18th, actually from the 18th of August through October, and I guess I should mention this now. Anyway, Mars is going to go into Virgo, and that's when, during that period of time, so it may not just be this month, but going through October, again, we might hear something about a scary virus. But again, I don't want people to get frightened because I think the media is going to make more of it. Maybe they'll have a down week and they won't have enough news. So let's talk about something scary. But I just, you know, wouldn't worry about that too much. So on October 31st, I'm sorry, not October 31st, August 31st, we have that full moon in Pisces, which is called the blue moon. That is a very empathetic, compassionate moon. So we close the month off with, we close it out with this really, you know, warm, compassionate, empathetic feeling. So I want to touch a little bit about the energies for the United States, because as of July, which I will probably mention this every month because it's significant, the United States entered a new astrological house. And the astrological house, this is going to sound crazy, but it doesn't have much to do with astrological forecasting. It's a numerological transit, but it has astrological, you know, scratch that. Just suffice it to say, it's a numerological transit. That's all I'll say. It has some aspects of the astrology, but so we entered into a 6. And what is that about? That's about health. It's about service. It's about jobs. It's about our working environment. It's about service workers. I do expect all of that to start bubbling up. And okay, so in August, it's an 8-month for the US because the US is in a 9-year, which is endings. So it's about authority. It's about money and power, big emphasis on power, a lot of egos this month, a lot of power plays and control. And with this 6 energy that's operating, I don't know exactly how it's going to manifest, but I feel like there's something that might be something serious that we have to really pay attention to around the US. There can be a big change somehow in leadership. Now, with that being said, I am not sure that if that is the US or that, because I know I'm talking about the US transits, but this also could somehow be in the world and that affects us. So things come to a head. Overall, the month of August, bit unpredictable, electrifying, fiery, appreciating family, questioning things, looking at things with new eyes, reflective, visiting things from the past that we can learn from. It's a month to focus on your family, your home, our personal relationships, even your work relationships, health. It's emotional, and it's about our responsibilities and what aren't our responsibilities. Are we taking on things that we really shouldn't take on? And it's about being honest. But there's a lot of things that are coming up too. It's like we're being shaken to awaken, and that's been going on for a long time. But this month, I think, more than ever. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about briefly having to do with children, because there is a focus on children this month. And I'd like to mention something about what Terry's doing. So, our friend and angel channeler, Terry Miller, Terry Angel, is involved in a wonderful project, because human trafficking, what is human trafficking? It's described as a recruitment, transfer, or receipt of people through force or deception. We've all heard about it, right? So this is happening all over the world, and more attention is being paid to it, which it should. So there's not one continent, one country or state that's an exception. There certainly are areas where it's more prevalent. And in the United States, I believe it's California, Texas, and Florida. That's where it's most prevalent, but it happens all over. So one of the missions of angel speakers is, through the Peace on Earth tour, is to bring more awareness to the public about the situation and to provide education on how can we help. And we all need to step up to help to put a stop to this. So Angel Speakers has a fundraiser, and they're hoping to have the ability to create more educational materials to distribute through the travels, through the Peace on Earth tour, through the country. So this is an ongoing, dedicated mission. And with your help, we can really make an impact. So I didn't know how to put up the link, but I think you can get the link through angelspeakers.com. And I'm going to close out because perhaps Ruth knows another way, but I just want people to think about that. And if you can contribute, please do. It's an important cause. So that is the weird, wonky world of August. But in the end, it's all good, right? So thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you, Michele. So certainly if friends want to reach out to Terry Angel, they can do that through Facebook or angelspeakers.com. Yes, thank you so much for that. Wow, August, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is a lot going on, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all of that plays out. There's so much going on, but the biggest takeaway, I think, are the retrograde planets, because that's a go over. And that we may not like that, but it encourages us to see, where were the holes in things that happened to us? Where can we fill that up, fill that in? What can we learn from the past? And that's what we hope to do, right? In our journey, our spiritual journey, our journey through life, is to find those areas that every experience we can learn something from. And there may be areas of your life where you really need to bring closure. And this is a great month to do that.
Yeah, one of the things too, Michele, is some people are very susceptible to the energies of the full moons. And when I was working in human resources, I could always tell when it was a full moon, because the employees that were prone to be problematic were really problematic during the full moons.
Right.
So be watching, friends, because we've got 2 of them going on in August. So I think just hold space and be patient and realize for some folks, they're doing the best that they can, but they might be getting kind of pulled around by this.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. I know nurses, doctors are very reluctant to admit to this, but nurses certainly, I know some friends who are nurses and they've said the same thing. The ER gets filled up more than ever during a full moon. And yeah, so, but you know what? We've talked about this before. Doesn't it make logical sense? The moon has a gravitational pull on the waters, on the ocean. We are mostly water. I mean, it just makes, it's logic. It's not woo-woo, this woo-woo, whatever, I don't know what comes after woo-woo, but woo-woo something. So it just makes sense. So we are being affected, and we are being affected by the cosmos, by solar flares, by things that are happening in the cosmos. We are being affected by that. And I think as we move forward, that more and more of that information is going to come to the surface, and more scientists or physicists are going to say, yeah, there's a lot going on. So it's not always just us, it's how we are interacting with these energies.
Right. Michele, you are always reminding us to be vigilant on our spiritual journeys, to be introspective, to spend time in meditation and getting ourselves grounded. Does this seem like August is an important time to continue with that?
It's always an important time, but especially August, I would say, because there is the high and low and intense and compassionate and so much energy. So I'm glad, I didn't even use the word grounded. I'm so glad that you used that word and brought that up, Ruth, because that is essential this month, to stay as grounded as you can, centered as you can. Think things through, pause, reflect, don't jump, and allow your emotions to surface, to look at, but don't get carried away with them. It's such a good time to be able to be detached in a way. Well, detached, not in a way, detached as much as you can from what is showing up in front of you and your feelings. Acknowledge them, feel your feelings, but then be able to look at them as an observer. What do I need to learn from this? It's always a lesson, and it's always for our highest good. I believe that 100%. And there's not many things I believe 100%, but that's one of them, that the universe is always communicating with us, tapping us on the shoulder or hitting us with a 2x4, depending on where you're at. So
I love that. So what I'm hearing from you is to detach, rise above it, sort of be the witness participant in these things, and maybe think before you speak this month.
yes. Yes.
Okay.
That sums it up, Ruth.
There we go. Michele, if somebody wants to work with you and have you do their own numbers, how do they contact you?
Michele Landers, Michele with one L, michellelanders.com. Go to my website, and I also offer a free 15-minute consult where you can talk to me about numerology or coaching or hypnotherapy or any spiritual topic you might want to bring up. And I'd be happy to explain to people what exactly is involved in a numerological reading. So thank you for that.
Excellent. Michele.
you, Ruth. Again, I love EWN, and everything that you offer to everyone is so beautiful and so honest and with so much integrity. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Michele. So friends, thank you for being here for this August forecast. We do this every first day of every month. So be with us when we take a look into September. But for now, enjoy your August. Thank you, Michele.